In the headlines, gunmen kidnap former deputy governor of Nasarawa State. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo sets agenda for incoming administration, says Nigeria has never been so divided like now. 5 suspected human traffickers arrested in Oyo State. And on the international scene, United Arab Emirates rejects extradition of South Africa's graft-accused Gupta brothers. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Sumaya Abubakar. Thank you for joining us. And now the news in full. We'll start with security. Gunmen on Thursday night kidnapped former deputy governor of Nasarawa State, Onje Giewadu, in his village Rinza near Wamba, the headquarters of Wamba local government area of the state. The incident, according to a family source, occurred few minutes to 12 midnight, adding that the kidnappers gained entrance through the fence and broke into the house and whisked him away. Onje Giewadu served under the current national chairman of APC, Abdullahi Adamu, as deputy governor between 1999 and 2003. He also served in different capacities as Dean Faculty of Law, Nasarawa State University, HOD Law Department, NIPS Kuru, Commissioner Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission, and others. When contacted, the State Police Command Public Relation Officer Ramhan Nansel confirmed the incident, adding that upon receipt of the information, police operatives attached to Wamba Division swiftly moved to the scene, but the hoodlums had fled with the victim before their arrival. The command further said Commissioner of Police Mayag Ibaba has mobilized and deployed reinforcements comprising police tactical teams, military, vigilante, and local hunters to complement the ongoing search to rescue the hostage. Gunmen on Thursday killed 3 police officers while 1 other sustained injury during an attack in Edo State. It was gathered that the officers were going to near their duty post when they were ambushed near Agor along the Igara-Auchi Road in Edo State. One of the assailants was also killed, while another, who sustained gunshot wounds, had been taken to an undisclosed hospital for treatment and interrogation. It was learned that 6 rifles were recovered from the assailants. The policemen were said to be driving in a car, while one of the policemen was riding on a motorbike behind when they were attacked. But the officer riding behind engaged the assailant, who fled into the bush with the 4 rifles of the policemen after killing them. When contacted, the Edo State Police Public Relations Officer, Superintendent of Police Chidi Nwabuzo, said the command is yet to get the details of the attack. Meanwhile, with May 29th fast approaching, Nigerians are focused on how the next administration can better their lot by enhancing the country's economic fortunes. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo believes that to achieve these objectives, there must be a deliberate attempt by the next government to foster national reconciliation. The former president spoke in Abuja on Thursday, and Noel Sampson reports.
A vast number of Nigerians are in agreement that the 2023 elections have led to a widening division along the country's ethnic and religious fault lines, leading to a yawning disunity amongst citizens. So persons believe there is no one more qualified than President Olusegun Obasanjo to prefer solutions to the very worrisome development.
With the imperative of national value reorientation that Nigeria requires to build a collective sense of enduring and noble values and national belonging. 2. Governance in Nigeria now calls for thinking outside the box in terms of development financing. These have become inevitable in the face of Nigeria's dwindling fortune in non-revenue, Nigeria's huge foreign indebtedness, and the urgency of diversifying Nigeria's monocultural economy. We cannot be spending like drunken sailors on frivolities and corruption and expect development and growth. Such situation cannot take us into the fourth industrial revolution already underway, or prepare us for the fifth.
The former president also speaking on what the incoming administration should do to deliver a more responsive governing style that will address the yearnings of Nigerians. This is where reforms comes in.
My deep insight about the operational logic of the bureaucracy derives first from my military background. And by the time I resumed as president in a democratic dispensation in 1999, I was already convinced from my rich experience in governance about the great benefits a focused government could derive from a capability-ready and professionalized civil service deployed to the imperatives of democratic governance.
As Nigerians earnestly await the incoming administration, there is a growing consensus that there must be a paradigm shift that will enable the achievement of sustained long-term economic growth and employment, changes in income distribution, and improved access to basic needs. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The defense headquarters has described the call for interim government by some residents in the country as mischievous and unconstitutional. The Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Musa Damadami, said this while addressing newsmen at the bi-weekly briefing on military operations across the country on Thursday in Abuja. Damadami said those calling for interim government are trying to be mischievous, adding that the Constitution did not provide for an interim national government.
It's rather unfortunate. An election has been conducted, and INEC, who is mandated, has announced the president-elect. It's not our responsibility to speak on that issue. But I know that several calls have been made from the presidency that there's nothing like interim national government. So I think people who are just trying to be mischievous, it is unconstitutional, and all of us know that one. The Constitution does not provide for an interim national government.
In politics, some members of the National Working Committee of Labour Party, led by the Deputy National Chairman of the party, South, Lamidi Apapa, have taken over the affairs of the party, following a court judgment restraining Julius Abureza and 3 others from parading themselves as national officers of the party. Apapa announced during an emergency meeting of the LP National Working Committee on Thursday that he had taken over as acting national chairman, while Saleh Lawan is now the acting national secretary. According to him, Abure and the 3 others must vacate the order of the Federal High Court restraining them before further actions can be taken on the leadership of the party.
Because in an organization like this, there is no room for vacuum, and therefore this National Working Committee meeting has graciously appointed me as the acting national chairman of the party, while Alhaji Saleh has been appointed as the acting secretary of the party. Equally, we also reviewed that recently there are some cases of suspensions that were badly handled. And this National Working Committee meeting has reviewed them, and the suspensions all over are hereby reviewed, and the officers affected were reinstated. With effect from now, the so-called officers should not parade themselves as officers of the party.
But in a swift reaction, Julius Abure has rejected what he described as illegitimate executive members of the Labour Party and maintained he remains the national chairman of the party. Abure accused the police of collaborating with the mastermind to gain entrance into the party's secretariat in Abuja, where the decision was taken, and pointed fingers at the ruling All Progressive Congress of being behind the plot. Meanwhile, the leadership of the Nigeria Labour Congress has backed Abure. The Oyo State Command of the Nigerian Immigration Service said it is determined to synergize with strategic partners in the sustained fight against human trafficking and other social ills. Oyo State Controller Muhammad Omar stated this in Ibadan when parading 5 suspects connected to a syndicate allegedly trafficking unsuspecting victims abroad. Controller Omar urged Nigerians who wish to migrate to other countries of choice to always ensure they follow legitimate means in order to avoid the wrath of the law.
We have successfully carried out a raid of suspected human trafficking syndicate here in Ibadan, and the success is what we are showcasing today. Initially, 10 suspects were arrested. Now, out of the 10, we're able to establish that 5 are members of a syndicate that are expert in luring Ghanaians, mostly Ghanaians, in the guise of bringing them to Nigeria, specifically Ibadan, then prepare them for a package that will enable them travel to Canada. Now, because of that enticement, these victims submitted themselves. They came to Ibadan, only to find out that it is something else.
It was a joint operation, and we have them in custody. So, on behalf of the Director General NAPTIP, Professor Fatima Waziri Azi, all I will tell you is that we are going to do due diligence. And if a prima facie case has been established, definitely prosecution, will commence.
You're watching News Update on Trust TV. Coming up, we'll take a look at how AMLE's female student defies all odds in academic pursuit. Details on this and more after the break. Stay with us.
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Trust TV News Update. And here's a recap of our top stories. We brought you gunmen kidnapped former Deputy Governor of Nasarawa State. And former President Olusegun Obasanjo sets agenda for incoming administration, says Nigeria has never been so divided like now. Now moving on to more stories, bulldozers of the Federal Capital Development Authorities on Thursday left hundreds of Jabi Dakibiu residents homeless after pulling down their marked buildings as part of efforts to preserve the original master plan of the nation's capital. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman was at the demolition site and reports that victims of the exercise say they were taken unaware as most of them were at work only to return and meet the remains of their structure with properties looted by hoodlums.
All you can see here is the ruins of the recent demolition exercise here at Jabi Dakibiu, where bulldozers of the Federal Capital Authority, demolish a number of houses. As you can see, the houses here have been flattened by bulldozers, and of course, the victims of the exercise are everywhere, salvaging what they can salvage out of the ruins of their houses. It's a very rowdy situation and pathetic, with victims of this recent demolition exercise, finding it difficult to cope with this devastation. Some of them have left for work only to come back and discover that their houses have been pulled down by these bulldozers. There are families with children who are also rendered homeless as a result of this exercise. It has become almost a routine here in Jabi and other places where you can find perhaps buildings that are done by people who are not given the necessary approvals to do so.
Last time they come, they just mark the houses. So they just come this morning. We just wake up this morning. We come here, say, when we come pack our things. So before we know, now they come demolish everything. Nothing. Nobody give us anything. We spend our money to build houses here. Nobody, they not give us anything for here.
Even though the house is not approved, suppose you are a citizen of this country as a Nigeria by birth, then you are entitled because this is a federal capital.
One of my neighbors, this man, this is my neighbor. He called me. Madam Corners, you dey here see demolition dey come or say dogini. Demolition, my con dey for fire dey burn as e dey hot now e dey cook pokotokotoko. Now I just come. I say wetin happen before you know I see people just dey carry kaya dey waka. I say shoo, I don see this one before oh, no be my first time oh. Wetin me I wan try to talk with say now. This one I do like this e good.
This is my room, it's safe con, this is my kitchen and this is my bathroom. There's nothing to get. I have to dig ground to get clothes and right now my clothes, all the clothes I dig ground to get, I can't even wear any of them. Right now I'm so frustrated that I don't even have what to change and wear as a woman. Where do I start from? And I'm a stranger here, no family here. I just come here to work and survive.
The families you can see behind me are rendered homeless. You can see their properties, left here. That is how much they can even salvage out of the demolition exercise that took place here. Most of them with young children, of course, don't know where to go. They are calling on the authorities concerned to come to their aid. From Jabi Dakibiu, here in Abuja, Nigeria's capital, Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News.
Meanwhile, determined to access quality education, a 22-year-old Amlais girl in Gombe State, Mariam Umar, defied all odds to secure an admission to study economics in Gombe State University. Mariam, who was born without arms, uses her toes to write and do other house chores. Ibrahim Ismail reports.
Undeterred by her condition, the armless-born Nigerian is very passionate about education and is more determined than other Nigerians who have all it takes to access education. The 22-year-old began to write with her toys at an early age as a primary school pupil. I do a lot of things for myself, like taking a shower, makeup, writing and cooking. I attended primary and secondary schools. I copy notes and write assignments with my toys without the support of anyone. Mariam, who sat for the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examinations UTME, has been admitted to study economics at the Gombe State University GSU. Despite her condition, she is ready to adapt to the new learning environment in the university. I am ready to defy all challenges. One must struggle to achieve anything in life. It is about determination. I will endure all the difficulties to study, inshallah. The 22-year-old is now seeking for financial assistance to register in the university and pursue her career. Girl child education is very important. A lady will educate her children if she is educated. Even if she did not get a job, you can differentiate between an educated and illiterate woman. For Mariam Umar, being armless is never a barrier to her academic pursuit, but rather a God-given talent to be different from the rest.
My name is Mariam Umar. I am 22 years old.
Ibrahim Ismail, Trust TV News, Gombe.
Prices of foodstuff and other essential commodities have significantly risen in Kano markets as Muslims continue to observe Ramadan fast. Trust TV correspondent Idris Jibrin, who visited some food markets in Kano, reports that a bag of pepper is now sold at about 19,000 naira as against 15,000 naira before Ramadan. His report.
It is exactly 15 days since Muslim faithful started fasting in this month of Ramadan, hopeful that prices of food items and other essential commodities will come down, but in Kano, traders say the reverse is the case.
Well, at the beginning of this fasting, one bag of pepper is between 3,000, 3,500 up to 4,000 naira, but now is between 17,000, 18,000 up to 19,000 naira. Food items like rice, beans and other basic necessities have now increased to about 20% in this month of Ramadan. Before fasting, we used to buy beans at lower price. But now during this fasting, the price has actually increased. In fact, most people can no longer afford it because they never thought the price will increase like that. Before fasting, one measuring plate of rice is about between 1,500 to 1,600. But now during this fasting, we are selling it at between 1,700 up to 1,800. So the price have increased, and most people do not thought that this will happen. We don't know why it increased. We used to buy it like that. People in most major food markets of Kano buy perishable goods for their daily iftar. But the price of especially pepper, onions, and tomatoes have significantly increased at the moment. Well, most people thought that the increase in the price is from us here in the market. Unfortunately, it is not from us here in the market. Even in the village, we used to buy it at 17,000 naira, 16,000 naira. And when you come here to the market, we used to sell it at between 18,000 naira to 19,000 naira. While they troop in to buy despite continuous price increase, residents are hopeful that things could be better before this year's Eid al-Fitr celebrations. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
In business news, Naira appreciated against the dollar on Thursday, exchanging from 463 Naira 25 kobo at the investors and exporters window. The rate represented an increase of 0.11% when compared to the 463 Naira 75 kobo for which it exchanged to the dollar on Wednesday. The open indicative rate closed at 463 Naira 50 kobo to the dollar on Thursday. A spot exchange rate of 466 Naira was used for trading within the day before it settled at 463 Naira 25 kobo. The Naira sold for as low as 460 Naira to the dollar within the day's trading. A total of $101.45 million was traded at the official investors and exporters window on Thursday. And now on the international scene, The South African government on Friday announced that its request for the extradition of brothers Atul and Rajesh Gupta at the heart of the massive state corruption scandal involving former President Jacob Zuma has been refused by a court in the United Arab Emirates. Justice Minister Roland Lamola said that the government was informed on Thursday evening of a Dubai court's decision not to allow the extradition of the two brothers arrested in the same city in June. The two Guptas, along with a third brother Ajay of Indian origin and a formidable trio of businessmen, are accused of looting the state coffers with the complicity of Zuma during his 9 years in power from 2009 to 2018. South Africa made an extradition request in July shortly after the brothers were arrested in Dubai. According to Lamola, the UAE court found that it had jurisdiction over the money laundering charges against the two brothers as the offences were committed both in the country and in South Africa. And lastly, in sports news, the Super Eagles of Nigeria have dropped 5 places in the latest FIFA ranking on Thursday, moving from 35 to 40. According to the ranking published on the official website of the World Football Governing Body, the Eagles also dropped in the African as they are now 6th on the continent. For the upset against Nigeria on March Day 3 of the 2023 African Cup of Nations AFCON qualifiers in Abuja, Guinea-Bissau jumped to 113 from 118. The Atlas Lions of Morocco, who became the first African country to reach the semi-final of the World Cup in Qatar 2022, maintained their position as the continent's #1 team and 11th in the world. Reigning African champions, the Teranga Lions of Senegal, moved to 18th on the global scene and are 2nd in Africa, while Tunisia rose to 28th in the world and 3rd in Africa. The FIFA ranking also saw world champions Argentina back at the summit for the first time in over 6 years. Argentina overtook Brazil at the top after enjoying friendly wins over Panama and Curacao, while their old rivals lost to Morocco. And that is all on Trust TV News Update. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Sumaya Abubakar. Thanks for watching.